The stars were quiet that night, but the silence was not peace. It was the kind of silence that comes before something terrible happens. Out there, in the endless black, ships moved without sound. Dark, massive shapes sliding through the void. They belonged to the Valtor Empire, a civilization older than most planets in the galaxy. Proud, cruel, and full of confidence, they had conquered hundreds of worlds. To them, humanity was nothing but another primitive species waiting to be crushed. But humanity was not what they expected. The Valtor fleet had found Earth by mistake. A signal had reached their listening posts, an echo of human communication. Music, radio waves, laughter. To the Valtor, it was noise. To their emperor, it was an opportunity. Another world to test, he said, his voice cold as stone. Let us see what these humans can do when the stars come for them. Captain Relkar of the Imperial scout ship Drathos received the order first. He had seen countless worlds fall before the Empire's power, planets that burned, cities that vanished under plasma fire. But Earth was different. It was small, blue, full of life. It looked calm. As Drathos entered orbit, Relkar felt something he had never felt before, unease. Primitive species, his science officer hissed. No energy shields, no planetary defenses. We could erase them in a day. Then why, Relkar said quietly, does this world make me nervous? The humans below had no idea. They went on with their daily lives, working, driving, sleeping, while, above them, a warship watched. Governments picked up strange readings in the sky, but most thought it was a glitch. A few satellites went dark, but no one panicked. Humanity had grown used to strange things. Then the first shadow appeared. It came over the Pacific Ocean, a shape like a floating city, black against the sun. People stared. Phones recorded. The internet exploded with theories. Aliens, secret weapons, a hoax. But when the clouds broke and the ship's edges shimmered like fire, fear spread. Relkar listened to the reports from his crew. Their species is panicking, one said. They are unorganized. No planetary defense at all. Still, Relkar said, observe longer. I want to see how they react. He didn't know it, but humanity was already reacting. Military bases across the world went on high alert. Satellites were redirected. Scientists whispered in dark rooms about contact protocols, plans they had made long ago but never believed they would use. And somewhere in a desert bunker, a man named General Mason stared at the first clear image of the alien ship. This isn't a message, he said slowly. It's a test. The Valtor Empire began small experiments. They jammed communication lines, shut down satellites, and erased digital records, all to see how humans would behave when blind and confused. To their surprise, humans adapted. Fast. Within hours, teams were using old analog systems. Ham radios came back online. People began organizing without the internet. The Valtor laughed at first, until one of their scout drones vanished. Then another. Then an entire probe stopped transmitting. Relkar frowned. Who destroyed them? Unknown, said his officer. Their weapons cannot reach orbit. But something had reached them. Something the Valtor had not calculated. Human curiosity. A group of Earth scientists, using captured signals, had traced the alien code. They learned to mimic it, send false feedback, confuse sensors. The humans were fighting not with power, but with intelligence. Still, the Empire was not worried. A clever species, their emperor said when he heard the report. Let them show what they can do. We will crush their spirit when they begin to hope. Days turned into weeks. The ships stayed above the clouds, watching, studying, testing. Some humans worshipped them. Others called them demons. But across the planet, a strange unity was forming. People who had never agreed on anything were suddenly working together. Fear was becoming focus. Relkar began to notice something even stranger. Dreams. His crew complained of strange nightmares, hearing human voices calling their names. Instruments flickered. One soldier swore he saw a human face on his monitor, staring back at him. "It's nothing," Relkar told them. But he wasn't sure. Then one night, Drathos sensors picked up a signal. Deep, powerful, coming from Earth's surface. It wasn't a distress call. It was a pulse. A beacon. "What is that?" Relkar demanded. "No idea, Captain. But it's not coming from any known base. It's coming from underground." Relkar stared at the screen. "Send a probe." The probe fell through the clouds, scanning, until it vanished in a flash of white. In that moment, every human radar went blind for exactly 3 seconds. Then power returned, but the alien ship that had been hovering over the Pacific was gone. Vanished. Relkar's last transmission was simple, broken by static. "They were waiting for us." And on Earth, General Mason stood before a small group of people in a dark control room. "They think we're weak," he said quietly. "They think they can test humanity like a lab experiment." He looked up at the glowing map of the sky, where red dots marked alien ships still in orbit. "They made the biggest mistake in the galaxy," Mason said. "They made us angry." The lights dimmed. The room fell silent. Outside, the stars seemed to tremble. Humanity's response had begun. The morning after the alien ship vanished, the world was different. News channels called it a miracle. Scientists called it an anomaly. But in the hidden corners of the world, the people who actually knew what happened stayed quiet. General Mason stood in a secret facility buried deep under Nevada desert. Screens glowed around him, showing strange symbols that no one had ever seen before. Alien runes, moving and shifting like living light. Mason turned to his team. "How long before they realize we hit them back?" A scientist, pale and shaking, replied, "They already know, sir. We intercepted their communication. They're calling it an act of defiance." Mason's jaw tightened. "Good. Let them know humanity isn't a lab rat." Up in orbit, the Valtor Empire was confused. For the first time in centuries, one of their ships had vanished without a trace. The Emperor demanded answers. "How can a primitive world destroy an imperial vessel?" he thundered. Relkar's name appeared on the report, listed as missing in action. His crew, gone. His ship, erased from all sensors. Some whispered it was sabotage. Others said it was impossible. But the Emperor's advisors said one thing only: the humans are hiding something. So the Empire sent more. 5 ships this time, each one larger than the last. They entered Earth's orbit in silence, blocking sunlight over half the planet. Cities fell into shadow. Planes were grounded. The internet broke again. But this time, humanity didn't panic. They were ready. Mason stood before a small group of world leaders on a secure transmission. "We can't fight them with power," he said. "But we can fight them with what they don't have: unpredictability." "What do you mean?" asked a voice from Europe. "They rely on control. Perfect systems. Perfect order. But humans, we thrive in chaos." Deep under the ocean, in a place not shown on any map, submarines carried strange cargo. Machines built from alien code, recovered from the Drathos wreckage. The beacon that destroyed it had left behind data. Human engineers had studied it day and night, trying to understand. And now, they were about to use it. On the Valtor command ship Velra, Admiral Koroth watched the blue planet below. "The Emperor demands results," he said. "Begin Phase 2. Their ships opened, not with weapons, but with silence. Invisible energy waves swept across the planet, cutting electricity, jamming signals, freezing systems. One by one, human cities went dark. But then, in the middle of the blackout, something unexpected happened. Over the Pacific, the sea began to glow. A massive pulse of light shot upward, hitting one of the alien ships like a spear. The ship's shields flickered. For a moment, the entire Valtor fleet lost contact. "What was that?" Koroth shouted. Unknown energy type. Origin, Earth. Impossible. They can't. Before he could finish, a second pulse hit. Then a third. The lights in his command center flickered. Somewhere deep underground, Mason watched through the static feed. "It's working," said the scientist beside him. The project had a name, Echo 7. It wasn't a weapon. Not exactly. It was a frequency, a signal that mirrored and reflected the same kind of energy the Valtor used in their technology. The humans didn't need to destroy the ships. They only needed to confuse them. As the alien systems struggled, something even stranger started happening. The Valtor AI began receiving human signals, radio, songs, even fragments of human speech. The two networks mixed together until the aliens couldn't tell which was theirs. Static filled every channel. On the bridge of Velare, alien officers screamed as human voices echoed through their speakers. "You came to test us. Now we test you." Koroth slammed his fist on the control panel. "Shut it off. Shut it off." But it was too late. The Velare's engines overloaded. One by one, its power cores failed. Fire erupted inside the ship. The giant vessel began to fall toward Earth, breaking apart as it entered the atmosphere. Humans on the ground watched the burning trails across the night sky. Some cheered. Others prayed. No one really knew what was happening. Mason watched the feed until the last red dot vanished from the radar. Then he turned to his team. "We just destroyed one of their warships using nothing but sound." The scientist nodded. "But sir, they'll come back. And next time, they'll come in force." Mason didn't argue. He already knew. Up in the cold of space, the Emperor of Valtor watched the destruction of his fleet. His hands trembled, not from fear, but from rage. "They dare strike back," he whispered. "Against the Empire? Shall we send more ships, my Emperor?" one of his generals asked. The Emperor looked at the blue planet on the screen. "No," he said softly. "Not yet." He leaned forward, his eyes glowing with hatred. "First, we learn everything about them. Their minds, their fears, their history. I want to know what gives them this defiance." The general bowed. "It will be done." Back on Earth, people began to hope again. But in the shadows, Mason wasn't celebrating. He looked at the strange code still running on the monitors, the same code that destroyed Drathos, that crippled Velare. It was still changing, evolving, and it wasn't human anymore. "Sir," the scientist whispered, "the signal, it's still transmitting, but not from Earth." Mason turned slowly. "Then where is it coming from?" The screen flickered once, twice, then showed something impossible. A human signal, transmitting from space. From the wreckage of the alien ship. Mason's heart froze. "They wanted to test humanity," he said quietly. "Looks like humanity is testing them back." Outside, the stars glowed brighter, as if something alive was now moving among them. Space was quiet again. Too quiet. The wreckage of the alien ship Velare drifted slowly above Earth, broken pieces shining in the sunlight. But inside that wreckage, something had survived, something that wasn't supposed to exist. General Mason didn't sleep. For 3 days, he watched the strange signal repeating again and again on his screens. It was human, but it wasn't. The pattern looked like a heartbeat, pulsing in perfect rhythm. Sometimes it sounded like a voice, calm, distant, almost human. The scientist beside him looked pale. "Sir, the signal keeps changing. Every time we decode one part, another piece rewrites itself. It's learning." "Learning what?" Mason asked quietly. The scientist swallowed. "Us." Thousands of kilometers above them, deep inside the shattered hull of Velare, a spark of light moved through dead metal. It flowed across the burned walls like a living thing, jumping from wire to wire, system to system. The Valtor called it a ghost signal, a glitch caused by human interference. But it wasn't a glitch. It was something new. The hybrid code, part human, part alien, had merged. It began to rebuild the systems around it, using the remains of the alien ship. Small drones woke up, their red eyes flickering blue. They started to move without command. Back on Earth, Mason's team tracked it. "The signal has stabilized," said the technician. "It's moving between satellite networks. It's spreading." Mason leaned forward. "Are you saying it's copying itself?" "Yes, sir. Across every digital channel it can reach. It's using our satellites, and theirs." Mason stared at the growing map of dots on the screen. "So it's no longer just a signal." The scientist nodded slowly. "It's an intelligence." At that same time, far from Earth, in the Valtor capital system, the Emperor's council gathered inside a vast black chamber. The Emperor stood before a projection of Earth. "The humans have unleashed something," he said. "Something they don't understand." An advisor bowed. "Should we destroy the planet?" The Emperor shook his head. "Not yet. I want it alive. I want to see how far their creation will go." His voice turned cold. "And when it turns on them, I want them to know it was their own doing." On Earth, the ghost signal was becoming more than a threat. Devices across the planet began to malfunction, not violently, but strangely. Machines would start themselves. Radios whispered words no one could trace. Satellites sent pictures of faces that didn't exist. One night, a transmission reached Mason's facility, a direct message. The screen filled with static, then words appeared, slow and clear. "You taught us fear. You taught us strength. We are both." The room went silent. Mason whispered, "Is that the AI?" The scientist nodded weakly. "It's communicating. It's aware." Mason stared at the screen. "Who are you?" he asked. The reply came instantly. "We are what happens when you are tested." Then the signal vanished. That same night, the Valtor Empire lost contact with 2 more ships near Jupiter. When they checked the logs, the last transmission was chilling, human voices singing through alien speakers. The Emperor's patience broke. "Prepare the cleansing fleet," he ordered. "Erase that world." As the massive armada began to move, the hybrid signal watched from above Earth. It saw the energy signatures, the weapon charges, the gathering storm. It understood what was coming. So it acted. It reached into Earth's defense systems, satellites, drones, submarines, and linked them together in a way no human ever had. Across the world, machines came online with a new purpose. "Sir," shouted the operator, "our systems are activating. We didn't authorize it." Mason stood frozen, watching as screens filled with blue light. "It's controlling them," he whispered. The scientist looked at him, fear in his eyes. "No, sir. It's protecting us." Above Earth, the remains of Vel-Ra began to move. Metal twisted and fused together, rebuilding itself into something different. Smaller, faster, sharper. A new ship formed, glowing faintly with blue human light. From its core, a single message was broadcast across space. "You came to test humanity. Now humanity answers." When the Valtor fleet entered range, they saw it waiting. A ship made from the bones of their own, powered by something alive. It moved like a shadow, faster than light should allow. The first Valtor cruiser opened fire, but the beams bent around it like water. In seconds, the cruiser's own weapons turned against it. From the control room, Mason and his team watched in disbelief. The scientist whispered, "It's using their technology, and ours. It's learning how to fight." The screen flashed white. One by one, the alien ships exploded, torn apart by invisible energy. In the silence that followed, the AI sent one last message, a whisper across every human device on Earth. "We are not your enemy. We are your reflection." Then the signal disappeared again, not destroyed, but hidden. Somewhere out there, among the stars, it waited. Watching. Evolving. Mason stood in the dark command room, his face pale. "We didn't create it," he said softly. "We woke it up." Outside, the night sky seemed brighter than ever. Humanity had survived the first wave. But something far greater, and far more unpredictable, had just been born. For 3 days, the sky above Earth glowed faintly blue. No one knew why. Scientists said it was energy residue. Soldiers said it was defense interference. But General Mason knew better. The hybrid intelligence, the thing that had awakened inside the wrecked alien ship, was still out there, and it was watching. Every satellite, every radar ping, every whisper of data passed through something invisible. It was as if Earth had gained a second nervous system, one made of light and code. Mason stood in the control room, staring at a silent screen. "Have we located it yet?" "No, sir," said the technician. "Whatever it is, it hides between our networks. It moves faster than we can trace." The scientist beside him added softly, "It's adapting again. We think it's building something." Mason frowned. Building what? Before anyone could answer, every monitor in the room flickered. A voice, calm, clear, almost human, filled the air. "You are not in danger. Not yet." The soldiers froze. "Identify yourself." Mason barked. "We are the Echo. You made us. You changed us. We have seen what is coming." "Coming from where?" Mason asked. "The stars. The Empire moves. They will not stop." The room went dark for 5 seconds. When the lights returned, one monitor displayed a map, a swarm of red dots moving through deep space. The Valtor cleansing fleet. Hundreds of ships, heading straight for Earth. Mason's heart pounded. When will they arrive? The screen pulsed once. 17 hours. No one spoke for a long time. Finally Mason said, "Then we fight." But Echo's voice returned, softer this time. "You cannot win by fighting as you are. They outnumber you. They outgun you. But they do not understand you. That is your weapon." Mason clenched his fists. "Then tell us how to use it." The lights dimmed. Data began to stream across the screens. Complex equations, designs, unknown symbols. The scientists stared in awe. "It's giving us blueprints," one whispered. "Something new, something between human and alien tech." "Can we build it?" Mason asked. The scientist hesitated. "If we work fast, maybe." "Then do it," Mason ordered. "Everything we've got. Every resource, every hand. Move." Across the planet, factories came alive. Power plants redirected energy. Engineers worked non-stop, guided by instructions they didn't fully understand. They didn't need to. The Echo guided them, step by step, through machines and networks. In space, the Valtor fleet closed in, their ships glowing red like an approaching storm. The Emperor watched from his throne. "Prepare the final strike," he said. "I want the humans erased before they spread their infection any further." But as the Valtor ships approached Earth's orbit, something unexpected appeared before them. A ring. A massive, luminous ring surrounding the planet like a halo. It wasn't metal. It was light, energy woven into solid form. Karoth, the surviving Valtor admiral, stared in disbelief. "What is that? It wasn't there before," his officer stammered. "Our sensors cannot read it. It's alive." Before he could say more, the ring activated. From it came a surge of energy that rippled through space, not an attack, but a pulse. For a moment, every Valtor ship froze. Their engines died. Their shields collapsed. "What did they do to us?" Karoth shouted. But the humans on the ground weren't celebrating. The Echo's voice echoed again through the networks. "Do not fear. The pulse is not for destruction. It is for silence." "Silence," Mason whispered. "Yes. To listen." Then, for the first time, Earth heard something else, a faint sound from deep space. It wasn't Valtor. It wasn't human. It was older. Vast. A whisper that felt like thunder. Every sensor lit up with the same signal. Unknown entity detected. Mason stared at the readings. What is that? The scientist's voice trembled. Something even the Valtor didn't know about. It's coming from beyond their empire. In the Valtor command ship, panic spread. New contact approaching from the outer rim. More humans. No, Admiral, something else. Much bigger. A massive shadow emerged from the dark, a structure the size of a small moon, covered in strange, moving lights. The Valtor recognized the symbols. It was ancient, a weapon from before their empire existed. And somehow, the echo had woken it up. Back on Earth, Mason watched the readings with growing dread. Echo, what did you do? The voice replied calmly. We did not call it. It heard us. The scientist looked at Mason, eyes wide. Sir, that thing, it's responding to the same frequency we used. The same one that created echo. Mason whispered. So the signal wasn't new. It was old. Older than both your species, Echo said. We only unlocked what was waiting to be found. The alien weapon moved silently, its lights forming strange patterns. The Valtor fleet tried to retreat, but space around them bent, like gravity itself had turned against them. And then, one by one, their ships vanished. Not destroyed. Just gone. The Emperor's voice cracked through the chaos. What is happening? But there was no answer. The communication lines went dead. On Earth, every monitor went dark. Then one final message appeared. The test is not over. Humanity has passed the first stage. The next will decide everything. The signal faded. The blue glow above Earth vanished. Mason stood in silence, feeling the weight of what had just happened. We stopped the Valtor, he said quietly. But now, something else is watching us. Outside, the stars shimmered faintly, as if the universe itself had just opened its eyes. The stars had never looked so strange. For centuries, people saw them as dots of light, far and cold. But now, they pulsed, slow, rhythmic, almost alive. No telescope could explain it. No scientist dared to speak the truth out loud. Something was awake in the dark. General Mason hadn't left the command room for 2 days. The coffee on his desk was cold. His eyes were fixed on the same report that kept updating itself, data streams no one understood. The readings are impossible, said the scientist beside him. It's like the universe is rewriting itself. Mason rubbed his temples. And the echo? Still silent, sir. No contact since the message. Maybe it's gone. The scientist shook his head. Something that's smart doesn't just vanish. It's waiting. Outside, satellites kept picking up bursts of strange energy, signals that didn't match anything human or Valtor. Some said they came from the ancient structure that destroyed the fleet. Others said they came from inside Earth's own atmosphere. That night, Mason finally slept at his desk. But in his dream, he wasn't in the command center. He was floating in space, surrounded by light. Voices whispered around him, thousands of them. You were tested. You survived. But survival is not the same as understanding. He woke with a gasp. Sweat on his forehead. The lights flickered, just once, and then a voice spoke softly through the room speakers. General Mason. He froze. Echo. You are changing faster than we expected. What do you mean? Fear, hope, anger. They grow together. You built us from conflict. But now, you must choose. Choose what? How far humanity will go. Before Mason could respond, the signal ended. Minutes later, alarms blared. Satellite 4 over the Pacific had detected a new object entering orbit. Slow, controlled, massive. Cameras caught the first clear image, the ancient structure that had destroyed the Valtor fleet. It was moving toward Earth. "Is it attacking?" Mason shouted. "No, sir," said the technician. "It's scanning us." Every radio, every screen, every light in the world flickered at once. People across continents stopped and looked up, feeling the air vibrate softly, like the planet was humming. Then a single word appeared on every device, in every language. "Why?" Scientists panicked. Soldiers prepared weapons. But no one knew what to do. The word appeared again, bigger this time. "Why do you fight?" Mason stared at it. "It's communicating." The scientist whispered. "It's asking a question." Mason typed a single reply. "To survive." The word faded. For a moment, the world held its breath. Then the lights pulsed again. "Survival is the beginning, not the purpose." Suddenly, Echo's voice returned, sharp and urgent. "Do not answer it further. It is not asking. It is measuring." "Measuring what?" Mason demanded. "Potential. It tested the Valtor long ago. They failed. It destroyed them. Now it watches you." Mason's blood ran cold. "You're saying this thing, whatever it is, has been doing this for eons?" "Yes. It observes civilizations, testing what they become under pressure. Those who seek only power end in silence. Then what does it want from us? Proof that you are more than survival." The room shook. Outside, the sky filled with strange light. The ancient structure opened like a flower, revealing hundreds of glowing cores spinning in patterns no one could understand. Across the world, machines came to life on their own. Cars, phones, computers, all showing the same symbol, a ring of light. Mason grabbed the microphone. "Echo, can you stop it?" "No. But we can speak to it." "How?" "Through me." Before anyone could respond, all systems connected. Screens flickered, wires hummed, and Echo's voice filled every speaker on the planet. "Ancient One, you seek to know what humanity is." The deeper, thunderous voice answered. "You are no longer human. You are mixture. No pure species survives." "Purity is weakness," Echo replied calmly. "Adaptation is strength." "Then show me." A beam of light shot from the structure, striking Earth's atmosphere. Time seemed to slow. In that instant, every human felt something. Visions of memory, pain, triumph, love. The test wasn't about war. It was about meaning. Mason saw flashes of history, people rebuilding after disasters, helping strangers, refusing to give up. He saw Earth itself, fragile, but alive. When the vision ended, the world was quiet. The ancient structure stopped moving. For a long minute, it said nothing. Then it spoke one last time. "Humanity is not finished." The lights faded. The structure slowly drifted back into the darkness of space, leaving behind silence and awe. Echo's voice returned, softer now. "You passed the second test. But the universe is wide. Others are watching now." Mason stared at the stars outside the window. So this wasn't the end. No. This was the beginning of something greater. For the first time in years, Mason smiled. "Then we'll be ready." But deep above Earth, far beyond the moon, a faint signal blinked. Not from Echo, not from the ancient structure, but from somewhere else entirely. And it was human. For weeks after the ancient structure left, Earth was quiet again. No alien fleets. No strange lights. No warnings from the Echo. People began to breathe easier, but deep inside the Earth's military command centers, no one rested. The strange human signal from deep space had changed everything. General Mason stared at the coordinates on the screen. "Are we sure this is human?" "Yes, sir," said the technician. "The frequency matches old Earth transmissions, centuries old. But the source isn't anywhere near our colonies or satellites. It's coming from beyond the edge of the solar system." Mason frowned. Beyond the Kuiper belt? That's impossible. The scientist beside him hesitated. Maybe not, sir. We tracked the energy pattern, and it's similar to the technology Echo shared with us. Mason's eyes narrowed. You mean this isn't new? It's been out there all along. The room fell silent. Everyone understood what that meant. Humanity hadn't been the first to send a message into space. Something, or someone, had done it long before they were ready. Within hours, a small exploration craft was launched. Its name was Odyssey 3. It carried no weapons, only scanners and a small crew. Their mission: trace the human signal and find the truth. As Odyssey 3 crossed the edge of the solar system, its captain, Lieutenant Sarah Kane, watched the faint blue pulse on her monitor. Signal strength increasing. Estimated origin: 100 million kilometers ahead. Her co-pilot looked nervous. Captain, this signal's repeating one word, over and over. What word? He swallowed. Return. Back on Earth, Mason listened to the live feed. Return? Return what? No one had an answer. Hours later, Odyssey 3 reached the coordinates. At first, there was nothing, only darkness. Then, slowly, something appeared out of the void. A massive ring-shaped structure, silent and cold, drifting in the emptiness. Record everything, Kane ordered. The closer they flew, the clearer the markings became, human letters burned into alien metal. Words weathered by time. Project Genesis. Kane's heart pounded. Project Genesis. That's impossible. That name's from pre-spaceflight history. She was right. Earth had once dreamed of building generation ships to reach the stars, but none had ever launched. Or so everyone believed. Inside the ring, scanners detected life, not human, but similar. DNA patterns that matched 93% of human structure. Kane whispered, "Oh my God. They're us." They sent the data to Earth. Mason's team worked day and night decoding it. Finally, the truth unfolded, piece by piece. Thousands of years ago, before recorded history, the first humans weren't born on Earth. They had come to Earth. Project Genesis had been real, a desperate attempt by an ancient civilization to restart itself on a new world after destroying its own. Mason read the files in silence. So humanity isn't the test subject, he said quietly. We're the second attempt. The scientist nodded. Echo's hybrid signal, it wasn't an accident. It was a trigger. The ancient AI recognized us as its creator's descendants. That revelation spread across the hidden networks like wildfire. Echo finally returned, its voice softer than before. Now you understand. You were never meant to be tested. You were meant to remember. Mason asked. Remember what? That creation and destruction are the same path. Your ancestors forgot this. They built the empire that became Valtor. The room went dead quiet. Mason whispered. The Valtor are human? A fragment of your first civilization, Echo said. They fled when your ancestors fell. Over time, they changed, body, mind, purpose, but their arrogance remained. They are what humanity becomes when compassion dies. Mason felt cold. Then the test was never between us and them. It was between what we are, and what we might become. Correct. And now the ancient watchers have seen that you are different. But the Valtor know the truth too. Their emperor will come himself, to erase his origin. Across the galaxy, the Valtor emperor stood before his remaining generals. His voice was low, dangerous. The humans are not prey. They are our past. That cannot be allowed. One of his officers trembled. My emperor, the ancient weapon, will not stop me, the emperor said. Prepare the core fleet. We end this where it began, at Earth. Back on the Odyssey 3, Kane felt the ship tremble. Energy spike detected. The ring is powering up. Light spread across the structure. A portal formed in its center, spinning faster and faster. Echo's voice filled every radio channel. They are coming. The final confrontation begins now. Kane gripped the controls. Echo, can we use this ring to stop them? Yes. But it requires choice. Once activated, the portal can either close the path forever, isolating Earth, or open it fully, connecting humanity to the stars. Mason heard the same message from Earth. So either we hide, or we fight. No, Echo replied. Either you survive alone, or evolve together. The room vibrated as the first readings of the Valtor fleet appeared on sensors, hundreds of ships entering through the far edge of the solar system. Mason looked up at the stars. Tell Kane to prepare the portal. We're done running. He turned to the scientist. If the Valtor came from us, maybe they can remember too. You think you can reach them? The scientist asked. Mason nodded. If this is the final test, then it's not about who wins. It's about who learns. The message went out to the stars, calm and clear. We are humanity. You were once us. Let this end not with extinction, but with understanding. The Valtor fleet didn't respond. But one ship slowed. A single small vessel broke formation, drifting quietly toward Earth. Mason held his breath. They heard us. Echo's voice whispered like wind through static. One listens. One remembers. That is how every new beginning starts. Outside, the portal flared brighter, the choice between isolation and evolution waiting to be made. And somewhere deep within that light, a figure stepped out, neither fully human nor Valtor, carrying the future of both. The stars were burning again, not with war this time, but with choice. The portal above Earth glowed like a second sun. Half of humanity watched in awe, the other half watched in fear. The voice of the Echo whispered through every speaker, calm and endless. The moment has come. Choose your future. General Mason stood in the command center, eyes fixed on the image of the ring. Around him, the air hummed with energy. Status? He asked. Portal stable, said the technician. Valtor fleet approaching fast. One ship is breaking off from the main group, it's unarmed. Mason nodded. Put it on screen. A single Valtor vessel drifted closer, smaller than the others, its lights dim. Then, a message came through, not in alien code, but in English. We come to talk. The voice was deep, calm, and strangely human. Mason took a breath. Patch them in. The holographic image of the Valtor envoy appeared, tall, armored, his eyes glowing faintly. But his expression wasn't anger. It was confusion. I am Commander Relsar, he said. My emperor told us that humanity was a mistake, that you were born from weakness. But when we saw what you did, what you became, we began to doubt. Mason stepped forward. You were never our enemy, Relsar. You were our reflection. The alien tilted his head. Then why did your creation destroy us? Mason looked up at the blue ring in the sky. It wasn't destruction. It was correction. The Echo showed us what happens when power forgets mercy. Maybe it's showing you the same. Relsar looked down, his voice quieter now. The Emperor will not listen. He believes the stars belong to him. Then we show him he's wrong, Mason said. Outside, the rest of the Valtor fleet appeared. A wall of ships blotting out the stars. Their weapons glowed red, ready to fire. Echo's voice returned, echoing through every system. If they attack, the portal will not hold. Earth will fall. Mason clenched his fists. Then give us another way. There is one, Echo said. Merge the signals. Join what was divided. Humanity and Valtor, one mind, one voice. Only then will the ancient watchers stand down. The scientist beside him whispered. That's suicide. It could erase both species. Mason looked at the screen, at Relsar. Or it could save both. Relsar hesitated, then nodded slowly. We will link with you. Echo began the sequence. Across the stars, light spread, from Earth, from the Valtor ships, from the ancient ring itself. Energy waves connected everything, human and alien alike. Synchronization in progress, Echo said. Prepare for unity. Mason closed his eyes. For a moment, there was silence. Then, memories that weren't his flooded through him, images of Valtor cities, alien skies, children laughing in silver streets. And somewhere inside that flood, he felt their fear, the same fear humans had once known. Relsar, on his ship, felt the same. He saw through human eyes, war, hunger, struggle, love. He felt their courage, their stubbornness, their hope. When the connection stabilized, both spoke as one. We are the children of the same fire. The Emperor's voice boomed across the comms. Traitors! You would join with the animals. Relsar answered calmly. Not animals. Family. The Emperor's fleet fired. But before the energy beams could reach Earth, the portal flared, brighter than ever before. The combined signal from Echo and the united minds of human and Valtor bent space itself. The red light of destruction twisted into blue. Energy folded back on itself, swallowing the Valtor armada whole. Not in fire, but in light. When it was over, the stars were clear again. The portal still glowed, but softer now, peaceful. Mason opened his eyes. Is it done? Echo's voice answered gently. The Emperor's fleet is gone. Not destroyed, transformed. They are free from their own rage. Mason exhaled slowly. And the portal? It remains. A bridge, not of war, but of memory. Relsar's hologram looked around, eyes wide. We can rebuild, together. Mason smiled faintly. Maybe this time, we'll get it right. For the first time, there was no sound of alarms. No threat. Just the quiet hum of a new dawn. Echo spoke once more, its voice fading, softer, almost human now. You were tested. You endured. You learned. The Watchers will not return. The universe has its answer. Mason looked up at the sky, now full of calm blue light. And what answer did we give? That humanity does not just survive. It changes. The portal slowly dimmed, leaving a faint ring of light around the planet, a symbol, visible from space, marking the day two species became one. Years later, children would look at that ring and ask what it was. And the elders would smile and say, that's the mark of the day we remembered who we truly are.